Brain Blunders. Uncover everyday illusions and fallacies, defeat your flawed thinking habits, and think smarter, or just less stupidly. Written by Peter Hollins, narrated by Russell Newton. Chapter 1. Misadventures of the Human Brain. When I was a teenager, I remember going with my parents to buy a new car. The car certainly wasn't for me, no matter how much I begged and pleaded with the might of my newly minted driver's license. The car was for my mother. She'd gotten into a minor accident, which our insurance company had deemed major enough to cover the cost of a new car. Many years later, it's still one of the few positive interactions I would ever have with insurance companies. I distinctly remember this day because I remember the salesperson that we dealt with, or rather tolerated. If you could create an untrustworthy salesperson in a lab, you'd come up with this man. If you looked up the word sleazy in the dictionary, his picture would be next to it. He was the stereotype of a slimy salesman who would pat your back and keep repeating your name in an annoying fashion. His palms were sweaty and he shook your hand for far too long. It was like he had read all the advice of what not to do in sales and taken it as a challenge. Things moved quickly because my parents were in a buying mood, and it showed plainly on their faces. They were busy people and just wanted to get in, get the car, and get out. This type of sentiment is like blood in the water for salespeople who want motivated customers that actually spend money. We took a quick test drive, and into the office we went to talk about exactly what model was desired and what the end price would be. I noted that the salesman didn't bring up the price until as late in the process as possible. Every time my father tried to clarify, he would say something like, "Of course, we'll get to that right after this, I promise. Just a couple more things to hammer out." He was doing this to draw my parents deeper into the process so as to gain their emotional investment in the car. When he finally presented the price with all the amenities my parents wanted, power windows, air conditioning, a CD player, heated seats, he presented a figure that made my parents gasp. In particular, my father looked shell-shocked, like he'd just witnessed a puppy being kicked. The salesman had done his best to anchor the price exceedingly high, so even if my parents wanted to negotiate, they would have to start there and end up far higher than they wanted to. In other words, because the quoted price was high, it was innately assumed that you couldn't work too far down from it. This might have worked on other people, but not my parents, who still kept things that were years past their expiration date, just in case. Stingy would be an understatement. Not only that, but my parents were raised in a culture where you were mocked if you paid the sticker.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?